Has your home started to feel more like a storage unit than a peaceful retreat after turning 60? Clutter has a sneaky way of building up over the years, often without us even noticing. Studies have shown that too much clutter can heighten stress and lower our ability to focus. Today, we're unveiling 16 often overlooked reasons your home may feel chaotic, from hidden messes to sentimental overload. These tips can help refresh your space and bring back a sense of order and calm. And wait until you hear number 12. It's a surprise most people don't expect. Let me introduce you to Dorothy, a 65-year-old grandmother who had always taken pride in her warm and welcoming home. But over time, she began to notice a change. Her once cozy living room felt tight and uncomfortable, her closets were stuffed to the brim, and finding a favorite book turned into a scavenger hunt. One day it hit her home had slowly turned into a cluttered maze. The constant mess left her feeling drained and uneasy. But here's the bright side. By making a few thoughtful changes, she managed to turn her home into a peaceful, organized space, once again proof that it's never too late to take control of your environment. If you've ever felt weighed down by the belongings surrounding you, you're not alone and you're not stuck. Just like Dorothy, you can make manageable changes that lead to big results. In this guide, we'll walk through 16 surprising clutter culprits and give you practical strategies to clear them out without stress. If this hits close to home, consider subscribing so you don't miss more useful insights on living your best life after 60. Let's begin with the kind of clutter that often flies under the radar: invisible clutter. These are the small, seemingly harmless things that quietly build up over time, chipping away at your space and peace of mind. First up, piles of paperwork. Think about it. Outdated bills, old receipts, unread magazines, and miscellaneous documents that accumulate without much thought. Maybe you're saving them just in case. Or maybe life gets busy and sorting them keeps getting pushed aside. Before long, these papers are taking over drawers, counters, and desks. A great way to stay ahead of it is to switch to digital billing where possible for things like utilities, bank statements, and subscriptions. Then designate one drawer or file folder for essential papers and commit to reviewing them once a month. Look around your home right now. How many stacks of paper can you count? 1, 3, more? Take a guess and let us know in the comments. Now let's talk about those gifts you've kept not because you love them, but because you feel guilty giving them away. Maybe it's a vase from a neighbor, a box set of wine glasses you've never used, or a decorative item that doesn't suit your taste. Sound familiar? Many of us hold on to these things out of obligation or nostalgia. But if they're not serving a purpose or bringing you happiness, they're only taking up valuable space. Letting go of these items doesn't mean forgetting the people who gave them. You can donate or regift them, giving someone else a chance to enjoy them. That act alone might just bring you a breath of fresh air, both literally and emotionally. Let's turn our attention to a surprising spot: the medicine cabinet. When was the last time you checked it? You might be surprised by the number of half-used prescriptions, expired pills, and old ointments gathering dust behind that door. It's one of the easiest places for hidden clutter to build up and one of the most commonly ignored. Picture Edward, a 65-year-old retiree. One afternoon, while reaching for a bandage, he came across a bottle of cough syrup that had expired more than a decade ago. That discovery made him realize just how much he was holding on to that no longer served any purpose. Clearing out that shelf didn't just make room, it helped him feel safer, knowing there were no outdated medications lurking around. The fix? Dispose of anything expired at your local pharmacy or community drop-off point for unused medications. It's a simple step with big benefits for both your health and your home. Invisible clutter may be subtle, but it has a real impact. Tackling a few small areas like loose paperwork, gifts you've never used, and old medications can already shift your home toward a more peaceful, well-organized space. But don't stop there. Some of the most stubborn clutter is hiding in plain sight. Sometimes the biggest mess isn't hidden at all, it's just so familiar we stop seeing it. Take a look around your common areas. Do you still have fake fruit on display? Maybe a dusty artificial plant tucked into a corner? Or that dated rug with a floral pattern that hasn't matched your style in years? Even window treatments like thick, heavy curtains can weigh down the feel of a room if they haven't been refreshed in decades. Our surroundings shape our mood, and when your decor doesn't match your life anymore, it can leave your home feeling outdated or visually overwhelming. Try swapping in a real plant that's easy to maintain, or trade heavy drapes for lighter, neutral options. These changes don't need to be costly, even small updates can make your space feel brighter and more like you. Now let's talk about a common problem we're all guilty of: the infamous junk drawer. Or, in Edward's case, drawers plural. He had 3 drawers filled with things like used-up batteries, old cords, keys with no purpose, and expired coupons. Each time he opened one, he felt frustrated, but he kept putting off the task because it felt like too much to handle. If that sounds familiar, here's a helpful tip. Don't try to tackle them all in one go. Start small, choose one drawer this month. Separate everything into 3 groups: keep, toss, and donate. Only keep what you truly use or value. You'll be surprised how good it feels to finally see the bottom of a drawer and how much calmer your space becomes as a result. Finally, let's take a look at another sneaky category: outdated tech. Do you have an entire drawer full of old cell phones, tangled chargers, or remotes you haven't used in years? How many forgotten gadgets are hiding in your drawers? Let us know in the comments. You might be surprised once you start counting. Now take a moment to think about outdated electronics taking up space in your home. Maybe there's a drawer stuffed with old flip phones, mystery cables, or remote controls for devices you haven't used in years. These items tend to sit untouched, gathering dust and eating up space, often because we don't know what else to do with them. The rapid pace of technology leaves us with plenty of leftover gear we no longer need. Not only is this clutter frustrating, but it can also harm the environment if not properly discarded. Do a quick inventory of your tech stash. Keep only the devices and accessories you actually use. The rest, bring them to a nearby electronics recycling center. Many stores offer drop-off points for phones, wires, chargers, and other devices. Edward once found a remote in a drawer and couldn't even remember what it belonged to, something that's probably happened to many of us. These overlooked items might seem harmless, but together, they affect how your space feels. Clearing out old tech, freshening up your decor, and tackling those junk drawers can make your home feel lighter, more streamlined, and more intentional. Now let's move into the realm of emotional clutter, often the hardest kind to let go of. These are the objects that carry memories and emotions, making them difficult to part with even when they no longer serve a purpose. Let's start with sentimental keepsakes. Edward had filled shelves in nearly every room with keepsakes: photo albums, souvenirs from family vacations, handmade gifts from his grandchildren, and trophies from long-past accomplishments. These items held deep meaning for him, but over time, they had grown into a collection that overwhelmed rather than comforted him. He realized he was maintaining these objects out of habit, not joy. You don't need to erase your memories to create a simpler home. There are thoughtful ways to preserve what matters. For example, consider digitizing old photographs and displaying them in a digital frame that rotates through your favorite moments. Or create a memory book that captures the highlights without taking up too much space. Your most important stories can live in your heart and still be honored without filling every shelf in your house. Now, open your closet. What do you see? If you're like many people, it might be full of clothes that no longer fit, don't match your lifestyle, or simply don't spark any happiness. This is another type of emotional clutter. Often, we hold on to clothes because of who we used to be or the memories tied to certain outfits. Edward's wardrobe was packed with office attire he hadn't worn since retirement, and jeans from a decade ago that hadn't fit in years. Despite the abundance, he constantly felt like he had nothing to wear. Sound familiar? If it's been over a year since you last wore something, it's probably time to say goodbye. Gently used clothes can be donated to a local shelter or charity, or listed online for someone else to enjoy. And when it comes to items with emotional weight, try keeping just one meaningful piece as a keepsake and let the rest go. Here's something to consider. What's the most difficult thing for you to part with? Maybe it's a special sweater, a souvenir from a trip, or a gift from someone dear. Whatever it is, we all have that one item we hesitate to release. Share your experience in the comments. Emotional clutter isn't easy to clear, but once you do, it creates not only space in your home but freedom in your mind. With a little thought and creativity, you can preserve your memories while letting go of what's no longer serving you. Next, let's uncover the types of everyday clutter that sneak in quietly and take up more space than you realize. Not all clutter is dramatic or oversized. Some of the most persistent messes come from small items that trickle in over time. Here are 3 everyday clutter traps you might not have noticed. Number 9. Plastic containers without matching lids. Edward's kitchen cabinets were overflowing with mismatched plasticware. Every time he opened a cupboard, random lids and containers would spill out some stained, some missing parts, all adding to the chaos. These pieces often go unnoticed because we think we'll use them one day, but they rarely come in handy. Take some time to match lids to containers, and keep only a few complete sets that you actually use. Recycle or discard the rest. The truth is, you don't need an army of food storage containers, just enough to meet your daily needs. Number 10. Owning too many of the same thing. Over the years, Edward had unknowingly accumulated multiples of common household items: 5 can openers, half a dozen scissors, and more pens than he could count. These duplicates often result from forgetting what we already own, or buying just in case. The problem is they pile up and make drawers and shelves feel chaotic. Ask yourself, how many of each item do I actually use? Go through your kitchen, home office, and utility drawers. Keep what's functional and regularly used. and let the extras go. You might be surprised by how much more room you create with this one simple step. How many duplicates do you think you have at home? Share your guess below, we'd love to hear it. And finally, let's talk about hobby clutter. At one point, Edward had dedicated an entire corner of his spare room to knitting yarn, needles, patterns, and more. But after the initial enthusiasm wore off, the supplies just sat there, untouched and collecting dust. It's common to start a hobby with high hopes, only to find that your interests shift over time. If that's the case, don't let the leftover supplies take over your space. Pass them along to someone who will actually use them, like a community center, art program, or local school. You'll feel lighter knowing they're going to a good home. It's easy to let everyday items slip into our lives unnoticed, but once we start recognizing them, we can reclaim so much space and peace of mind. And up next, we're diving into a clutter source that's sneaky and surprisingly sentimental: the just-in-case stash. Stick around, because this next section might hit close to home. Some of the most surprising clutter offenders are things we barely recognize as clutter. They blend in, live quietly in corners, and gather dust until one day we realize they've overstayed their welcome. Let's explore a few of these under-the-radar troublemakers that might be hiding right in front of you. Have you ever reached into the back of your pantry and pulled out a spice jar that expired before your kids graduated high school? Edward did. He discovered a can of baking powder that dated all the way back to the 1980s, and a few mystery tins he couldn't even identify. Pantry clutter is like a forgotten time capsule. Because it sits quietly on the shelf, we don't always notice it until it's far past its prime. Try to build a habit of checking your pantry once a year. Go through the shelves, check expiration dates, and toss anything that's stale, outdated, or simply not something you'll use. Once you've cleared the space, organize what's left so it's easy to access. A bonus tip: label your shelves. It makes staying organized much easier. And we're curious, what's the oldest item you've ever found hiding in your pantry? Drop your answer in the comments. We bet someone can top Edward's 30-year-old baking powder. Number 13, broken or "I'll fix it later" items. Edward's basement had quietly become a holding zone for repair projects that never quite got started. A few broken chairs, an unsteady end table, and a wall clock that hadn't worked in years. He always meant to fix them someday, but that day never came, and those items became permanent clutter. Here's a better approach: give yourself a firm deadline. If something's broken, commit to repairing it within the next month. If that's not realistic, it may be time to let it go. For things that still have potential, consider donating them to someone handy or to a local upcycling group. Holding on to broken objects can feel like holding on to hope, but letting go can bring you even more peace. These hidden sources of mess may seem small, but clearing them out can completely shift how your home feels. Without the burden of expired food or unfinished projects, your space will feel fresher, cleaner, and more uplifting. And now, it's time for one final and deeply personal category of clutter. This one doesn't just fill your rooms, it affects how you feel inside. Let's talk about the items that are hardest to confront, but most rewarding to let go of. For Edward, one of the toughest realizations came when he looked at his old furniture. His living room was filled with oversized, bulky pieces: sofas that were too big, armchairs that blocked natural light, and tables that took up far more room than they needed to. The space felt cramped and unwelcoming. It wasn't just about the size; the furniture itself made the room feel heavy, as if it were holding on to another chapter of his life. Large or outdated furniture can instantly make a space feel tighter and more chaotic, even if the rest of the room is well organized. When oversized pieces dominate your layout, they crowd out comfort and disrupt the flow of your home. A smart way to reclaim space is by replacing bulky furniture with streamlined, versatile pieces that reflect your current lifestyle. Think compact sofas with built-in storage, or a table that works just as well for dining as it does for writing or crafting. These updates can open up the room and make everything feel lighter and more breathable. Edward also had a collection that had quietly taken over his home: rows upon rows of figurines. At one time, they were cherished decorations scattered throughout his living room, dining area, and hallways. But as the years passed, they became more of a responsibility than a joy. They gathered dust, took up shelves, and no longer brought the delight they once had. Eventually, Edward admitted to himself that he wasn't enjoying them anymore; he was just keeping them out of habit. The solution? Select just a few that still feel special and display those with intention. The rest can be carefully packed away, donated, or sold. A curated collection can add charm and personality to a space, but an unchecked one can quickly become visual noise. And what about the places we tend to forget? Basements, garages, attics — they're often used as catch-all spaces for things we don't know what to do with. Edward's garage was full of items he hadn't touched in years: boxes of holiday decorations, old toys, broken furniture, and random odds and ends. He didn't even remember what some of the boxes contained. To tackle these hidden zones, start small. Choose one shelf, one corner, or one box. Break the task into smaller pieces to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Bit by bit, those forgotten areas can become functional again, or at least less chaotic. Facing these overlooked issues may be tough, but it's an essential step toward making your home a sanctuary. Letting go of oversized furniture, overgrown collections, and neglected storage spaces allows you to welcome in peace, comfort, and clarity. As we wrap up, let's reflect on Edward's transformation. By making a series of small but meaningful changes, he created more room to breathe, more peace in his daily life, and a renewed sense of pride in his home. Decluttering isn't just about tossing things out. It's about reshaping your environment to match the life you want to live. It's about keeping the items that support your joy and releasing the ones that no longer serve you. And remember, you don't have to overhaul everything in one day. Start where you are. One drawer, one shelf, one decision at a time. Those small steps add up to something big. If these tips have inspired you, don't forget to like this post, share it with someone who might need a gentle nudge to start decluttering, and subscribe for more thoughtful guidance on living well after 60. Looking for more ways to bring simplicity and joy into your home? Check out more of our content. We're here to help you live lighter, freer, and more fully.